In the UK only, 22 million pieces of furniture end up in landfill every year. And the majority of those items have been produced in the past 10 to 15 years. Because when you buy fast furniture, it's so cheap because it hasn't been designed to last. And so, we are very proud to, contribute to a more circular way of shopping for furniture. In average, the Vinterior piece is 100-year-old and probably better quality than a lot of the fast furniture around here. And it has more character.
Today on the podcast, we have Sandrine Zhang Ferron, the CEO and founder of Vinterior. It's the online curated marketplace for vintage and design furniture. Sandrine's got an incredible story. Growing up in France, coming across the UK to work, where she worked in structured finance and the financial markets, before deciding one day, when building her own house, that there was a massive gap in the market for antique furniture and being able to get a hold of it in an easy way. This started a almost decade-long journey of Vinterior, where she started coding it herself and since then expanded massively to have a much larger team and including investment from Channel 4 Ventures. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm Alma from the Bay HQ, and this podcast is powered by HSBC Innovation Banking.
So great to have you here today. And what you've been building at Vinterior is incredible. But obviously you started from somewhere. What were you like growing up?
So actually I wanted to become an astrophysicist. I remember always asking questions like, why does the universe exist?
Small questions.
What was before the Big Bang? And my friends say, oh, it's boring. So yeah, but then I didn't get kind of like more engineering school I wanted. So I ended up in a business school and here we are.
So was that almost considered, how did you feel at that point? Because I guess if you really wanted to be an astrophysicist, when you didn't get that, did I say that word right? Astrophysicist, yep. So when you didn't get that, how did you feel at that point?
I think I was really interested in more, STEM studies. But then like in France, you have like two paths, for higher education. Either you go to an engineering school or business school, and you have to pass exam to get to a good preparatory schools, which takes 2 years. And it's a kind of a national ranking. And I didn't get my first choice for the engineering school, so I ended up in the business school. And then one of my best friends in the high school said, yeah, it's going to be like more fun to go in business school. So, when you're high school, you don't really know what you want to do. So I was fine.
And did you enjoy it when you started studying business?
Yeah, I loved it because, unfortunately didn't learn that much at the school itself. Met a lot of friends. I did learn a lot of the basics, which are still useful today, like, the 101 of finance and accounting. I think all the marketing teaching at the time is not irrelevant, to be honest. And didn't take any entrepreneurship class. But I think it's more like the internship I did during my studies are really useful.
What internships did you do?
Oh, I did a very exciting 12 months internship at EY doing audit. And I had decided to choose the industrial sector. So I still remember, New Year Eve going into this, pottery warehouse to measure all the material, concrete beans to make sure that all the numbers are ticked for the end of the year inventory. But yeah, I think it taught me a lot about just, attention to detail, checking your numbers and the basic of, like financial statements, a balance sheet, P&L, cash flow.
And at which point did you start thinking, maybe I want to start doing something myself? Or was that not really a thought until later on?
So after uni, I had to spend 6 months abroad and found an internship in London as a sales assistant in a structured product desk. So because I had studied option and derivatives and wanted to work on the trading floor, and I was more on the nerd side, so wanted to do structuring, but go in sales. So I started, working on that, got a job after 3 months. So did that for 4 years, really enjoyed, the fast-paced nature of being on the trading floor. So yeah, at the time I was not really considering building a business, but then one of my clients, who was chief investment officer at a family office, asked me to work from them. So I went on the other side, so on the investment side, and then did that for 3 years, and that's how I bought my new home, moved from a flat in Shoreditch to grown-up house in Highbury that was going to become our family home. So just wanted to find, better quality furniture for the place, spends all my weekends while working a busy job doing that. And that's how I got the idea of Vinterior. And at the same time, I started to realize that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life working in finance and making rich people richer. So it was, kind of the combination of being bored of what I was doing, not really finding it very fulfilling or exciting, and having this idea and say, okay, let's go for it and see if it works.
I guess when you're at the family office as well, did you start to see more startups and talk to more business and entrepreneurs at a stage that starts to give you that rub for it?
Oh, not at all. When I was working on the family office, because the way I went into it, I was, selling more structured products based on cross-asset product. I was more doing that, so more on the buy side, so suggesting investment instruments, also working more at the portfolio, real estate, and, family office are quite chaotic, so it could be just any request from the principal. But I don't remember at all coming across startup investment opportunity at the time. It was more, traditional investment classes.
So when you started Vinterior, was the idea that it would become like a startup and really grow as fast as it did eventually? Or what were your ambitions at the beginning? Was it just meant to be a try it and see, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, no plan at all.
Yeah.
So I think I got the idea for Vinterior. So, okay, there are so, like in fashion, there are already a lot of outlets for you to buy, secondhand or, like outlet pieces at an affordable price and get everything online. I thought, okay, why isn't anything for furniture, right? Like a way to select a lot of inventory, which is more affordable, good quality. So I thought, just let's see. I will figure it out. But the challenge was how do I build a tech, right? I was working in finance, in the background in tech, and talking to a friend working in VC. I asked him, should I find a co-founder, hire an agency, hire an employee? And you're like, why don't you learn to code yourself? Like, oh, yeah, let's do that. So basically, when I had the idea, I started to search some coding bootcamp, found one I liked, starting in September. So quit my job and learn to code. And everyone was like, you're crazy. Like, that's such a rash decision. You're going to regret it. And yeah, that's how it started.
How did you feel at that point? Because I remember when I quit my job, but then there was that stress at the beginning of, have I made a good decision? And then I was lucky that people supported me, but at the same time, you're like, I don't know what I've done. But when you started that code bootcamp, did it feel like, I've really done the right path here? Or was there?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to, not really regret or question my decision because, I had some savings from finance and I was very excited to learn more about the opportunity. And I had this vague idea of a marketplace. I had read this book about the origin story of eBay and I found it fascinating. And, having worked at a brokerage firm as well, it was quite familiar, the idea of matching demand and supply. And so it's going to be a learning opportunity and I'll figure it out. And I mean, it's not a massive issue if I fail. Like, there was no really consequences for me at this stage. I didn't have a child, had some savings from finance. So I just went for it and, didn't question it. I loved it.
And when you were building that product initially, so I'm guessing did you build the first product version yourself in the MVP?
Yes, correct.
How was that experience?
It was really fun because, I think this part where you build something from nothing and everything is possible, I guess that's what I mean, I really enjoy as being a founder because nothing is possible. And obviously I was on my own, so didn't have to, discuss with anyone about it or report to anyone. So, just went for I think the challenge was to actually fight the procrastination because there was no deadline. And at some point I talked to a friend, like just set a random date. So I set a random date, said I need to have 200 listings by that date and work on it. So, building the website took 3 months. I had a friend from the bootcamp who helped as well. That was really fun. And then spend a few weeks really doing a sales job, cold calling antique dealers in London. And once I got 200 people, just launched. But, it just launched. I was the only one to celebrate. Like no one knew it was happening. So yeah, it was just how it started.
Even just getting that first 200 people, cold calling with a brand new platform is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Obviously, you must have had to cold call a lot more people than that. Or was it actually, when you spoke to the customers, they really understood very quickly, like what the value in what you were doing?
So being a marketplace, the idea was a marketplace to buy high-end second-hand furniture. So I messaged all my friends, like, do you have good quality furniture to sell? And obviously not so many people had. So okay, maybe I should focus on the B2B side. So, build a pipeline of vintage and antique dealers that I knew, went online to find more. And actually my first job, because it was sales, I had, cold call a lot of finance people, private bankers, asset managers, insurers. So, calling an antique dealer compared to that they're very pleasant. Yeah. So it was fine. It was like more, making the process, targeting, 50 leads, 50 calls, 100 calls. Otherwise I don't go to the toilet and just get on with it.
And when you were explaining the products at that stage, what did you find that really resonated with them?
I think, for dealers, I just wanted to have a platform that, really resonated with their view of the brands, that celebrated craftsmanship of their product, and that was easy for them. And, they were dissatisfied with the existing solution at the time. So, also like when I pitched, obviously, I think when I pitched, I'm not sure if the website was online. I think maybe I just pitched on the deck. Yeah. So when you think about it, wow, like thank you, all those like early dealers for joining us. I think it just like shows a real pain point, right? Like, the dealer we work with are SMEs, sometimes like solo traders, maybe juggling another job, or people who have changed careers and turn a hobby into a job, and it's hard work, right? Like as all founders know, there's a dream, job or the core business that you like. So for dealers, we like finding and restoring great pieces, but then you get all the business admin crap. Yeah.
I know about the business admin crap.
Yeah. Right. Taxes, compliance stuff, HR, whatever. And so, having a partner that can allow them to grow their business and their online presence beyond the existing, customer base and footfall, while helping them as well with, marketing and the other admin. I could tell it really resonated with the dealers. And I realized, okay, the most important to them is time. That don't have the time to deal with this crap. We never have enough time as business owners. So like, how can we make it very simple for them to sell with us? So from the start, I think we really focus on the onboarding process, where if a dealer say, okay, I want to join Vinterior, in 24 hours, they can have their whole inventory on the site, ready to take orders without having to open their laptop. So that's kind of the work experience we've always focused on refining since.
We hope you're enjoying the episode so far. We just want to give a quick shout out to our headline partners, HSBC Innovation Banking. One of the biggest challenges for so many startups is finding the right bank to support them. Because you might start off and try to use a traditional bank, but they don't understand what you're doing. You're just talking to an AI assistant, or you're talking to somebody who doesn't really understand what it is you've been trying to do. HSBC have got the team they've built out over years to make sure they understand what you're doing. They've got the deep sector expertise, and they can help connect you with the right people to make your dreams come true. So if you want to learn more, check out hbcinnovationbanking.com. If you've got the first 200 people on the board there, you also need people to buy the products, right? How did you go about that part of the equation?
On the buyer side, so that's we had three phases, like marketplace being chicken and egg. We focused on building the supply, and actually that created the demand because each of our product is unique and can be quite specific, right? Kind of let's say a 90s, 30s chair from this designer, from this manufacturer, etc. So every time I did a listing to the platform, it made us rank on in terms of SEO. So the whole couple of years of growth, it was a simple equation: grow listing, grow demand. Added to that, obviously, performance marketing, and lately more investing in the brand, right? Like once we thought, okay, now we have really product market fit. People want our product. We have optimized the experience. Now, how can we go bigger and even grow a market, make people realize that buying secondhand is better?
You mentioned about product market fit there. Where do you feel like there's an inflection point where yes, we've nailed this now. We've got the right idea. Now we just need to scale. Where do you think that came?
That's stop and go, I would say, because obviously you have the Sean Ellis program market fit test that we send to customer and buyers, and where if over 40%, they will be very disappointed if they couldn't use your service. You have product market fit. So we survey customers and buyers to measure that, but also it changes as you expand your customer segments. Right, like you may have product fit with early adopters, but as you broaden to a different type of customer, then there is more work to invest, maybe like more trust signal to build, more education. So I think it's going to be a constant investment and always keeping customer front and center.
You mentioned at the beginning, you taught yourself how to code. You did this early sales calls, you did the marketing. When did you decide it was the right moment to start expanding the team, and who was the first hire, and how did you go about that?
So, I love that. I love my first hire, Mark, if you hear me. Hello. So obviously, I didn't have any huge ambition when I started. It was like, just let's figure it out. And by chance, I met with an investor from Seedcamp, Sia, because one of the interior designer I was cold calling to promote the business had a friend who had intern at Seedcamp. So I think I had to create a quick video about the team in 1 minute. That was just me. A video playing all the roles. And then I got into the different pitch cycles and got the investment with very small pre-seed round, 75k euros in 3 tranches, so not a lot of money. But then I was okay, I'm ready to hire someone, and I think my priority was someone to help me acquire more suppliers and take on customer support. And again, chance. So there is a lot of luck here. One of our dealers, Malcolm, sent me an email saying, "Hey, look, furniture, etc., is shutting down." And furniture, etc., was kind of the Vinterior, but launched by Times Inc. At the time, and I wasn't aware when I launched and run that, and they were shutting down. And so, okay, is there anyone good from their team that you would recommend? I said, okay, this guy Mark. It was quite a switched on, so I reached out to Mark. We meet, I think, for a pint, and because I didn't have a team or any investor, I think I even invited my husband. So when I think about it, it was really a weird interview. Drinking a pint with my husband, and okay, you're a good guy, very friendly, very warm, a northerner, and got Mark on board.
Yeah, because we were talking about before earlier how we're doing our first proper hire and what you look for in those kind of candidates. And obviously now your team has expanded quite a lot more. What do you look for in the people you're trying to hire? How do you know they are the right fit?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you don't take everybody for a beer with your husband still.
No, actually, majority of my team maybe doesn't know my husband. But yeah, the beer interview, it lasted for a few years. I think not with the husband. So, obviously now we have much a better refined process. So, I think being very clear about what we expect from someone is critical. And the lesson learned from, how that didn't work out is because probably I wasn't that clear about what great looked like. So aside from, like the obvious, which are competency and hard skills, obviously culture fit is key. So we have been refining over the year as well, because the company's values and the behavior we expect can have a, kind of set list of questions. I ask candidates to assess if they can exceed those values. But it's not foolproof. But, in a nutshell, and from talking with other founders, I think we're all looking for the same thing, a can-do attitude, like not taking no for an answer, everything is possible, and a stronger sense of ownership and follow through. And, communication is very key, right? Like openness, transparency, super important to me. I'm French Chinese, so we have a very direct communication. So no beating around the bush.
As you started to grow that team out, and you said at this point you're still thinking about the problem, you're just passionate about the problem, really, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When did you start thinking this is actually something which could really scale here and really grow to the kind of size it is now and even bigger than that? Was there a moment where you're like, okay, maybe we should start thinking down that route?
It just came organically because obviously having a VC fund, our first investor, and some angels, you just get into the ecosystem. And so, once the pre-seed is raised, like, okay, what about the seed and the Series A, etc. And these things always happen differently from what's planned. But just quickly you go on on this treadmill of the ABCDZ. Yeah. I suppose it's always this kind of conflict between feeling, we are so far from like the size of the opportunity where I want to go. So it's just a beginning. And also taking the time to appreciate, wow, we have accomplished quite a lot. And actually, maybe we are someone. Mm-hmm. So, we went to last week. I was at an event we organized with, journalists and influencers and creators, and to showcase our new TV ad. I'm like, okay, that's going to allow us to build brand fame and to be known across the UK. And someone said, but you're already known. I'm like, that's good to hear. So I think sometimes external validation also helps to appreciate.
Could you share some of the biggest wins you've had so far? The moments you're most proud about that the company's been able to achieve?
Oh, so many wins. I think, more recently, obviously, we just launched our first TV ad, and we also managed to get Bill Nye as a voiceover for the ad. So that's so exciting. And, it has been such a great teamwork to get there, and we are seeing early strong metrics, so very exciting. The past few years have been quite tough. After COVID, obviously, e-commerce had a lot of headwinds with inflation, etc., especially for high value items like ours. So, and we had, grown the team quite significantly after raising our series in 2021. So we had to go through some cost cutting. So that has been tough. But then as a result, I'm looking at the past 12 months, we have increased our margin massively. We are growing over 60% year on year. We are going to get to profitability in Q4. And also sales just seems to grow more easily. So it's good to see that it's paying off. And, I think the win is always to see how the team resilient, how they can rebound from those constant changes, really.
One of the things you've done really cool as well, which I see all over the place whenever we're going about London, is these billboards, right? Where you're very tongue-in-cheek, very bold with what you're doing. How did the ideas for those come about? And can you just tell that story here as well?
Yeah, that's funny because that's, again, I think a lot of luck. So I think for a second tube ad, because our first TV campaign, tube ads, we did something very beautiful, but I think people were not clear who we were. So the brief for the second campaign was, let's be really bold and, be very... have a stronger point of voice on who we are, what we stand for, is uniqueness, quality, built to last, F the flat pack. Yeah. And so agency came up with like those brilliant lines of, no Swedish meatball, no divorce, no instructions, or you're better than flat pack. And someone, or it was just by chance due to the calendar, it happened that all over London, our ads were just next to IKEA's. And it was really funny to have, and I think that was picked up by press, by the Daily Mail, and everyone saw that we had paid specifically TFL to get there. But no, it's like maybe a very nice angel who did that for us.
And did that make a huge impact for the business, that press coverage?
Yeah, it created a lot of buzz, right? And like we have a lot of customer like coming from creative industry, so that's obviously like help strengthen the brand awareness. But I think it's not so much about the reference about IKEA. I think it's really about having a strong point of view and standing out, and not doing something cookie cutter. I
also see you talk a lot about how the work you're doing at Vinterior also has a big impact on the climate too, because of what people tend to use when they use the alternatives is that there's a lot of wastage, a lot of things being made but not lasting very long.
Yeah.
Whereas what you're doing is a piece of furniture has been already around for a long time, and reusing that, which is obviously better than creating something new. So could you talk a bit about that as well, the impact you've made through what you're doing? Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously like that's what motivates, everyone, the team, that, in the UK only, 22 million pieces of furniture end up in landfill every year. And the majority of those items have been produced in the past 10 to 15 years. Because when you buy fast furniture, it's so cheap because it hasn't been designed to last or to be recycled or repaired or repurposed. Like if it's just stapled and glued, you can't do anything about it. And so, we are very proud to, contribute to a more circular way of shopping for furniture. In average, the Vinterior piece is 100 years old and probably better quality than a lot of the fast furniture around here. And it has more character. And, obviously we don't have any carbon emissions because it's already produced, and we also offset our carbon for deliveries. So it's really important for us to, obviously build a business that can provide joy for customer, like from finding the uni piece to meet their taste and their home, and also do good for the world.
I guess as well, because you obviously you are looking at an issue for a piece for yourself. Is it hard for you to not also just keep looking at the stock you have and like, oh, do I need another chair? Because I guess you get to see so many incredible pieces.
Yeah.
How's your relationship changed with that as well over time?
I'm a hoarder.
Yeah.
I'm a hoarder. My husband keeps saying, like, I also I buy stuff like, okay, I'm going to reupholster that. And like, I don't have time, so I don't do it. So I have a lot of projects sitting. And I've been redecorating a couple of times since I started Vinterior, and I'm reselling on Vinterior. And it's extraordinary because, especially in the current climate, right? Like moving home is hard, buying your first property and then like furnishing it can be a significant cost. But what I've seen, like the Vinterior pieces, because they're good quality and you already buy them at maybe 20% or 30% of what it would cost new, they retain their value and they can even increase in value. I think some pieces I managed to sell them higher than the price I bought them for. And so, it's also a good investment somehow.
That's an important point as well, I guess, because like you said, many of these pieces are more high end, but it's worth making that investment because it's not like if you buy a £300 cupboard from a Swedish company, you can't really sell that in the same way.
Yeah.
You're making an investment, but it doesn't decay as quickly.
Exactly, because it was built to last, and some people are really attached, right, to those beautiful pieces, so will even want to keep it and pass it on to other generation. But also, that if you resell it, you can gain value, because if you buy something new, even if it's like super quality, it just depreciates very quickly from the moment it's delivered. Maybe you can resell it at 30% of the price. And obviously for, flat pack, you can sell them for £5 on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
but it's still better than ending on the landfill. But then if you buy something which was already, 30 to 50% of the price new, and it's good quality, then the decay is going to be, not that significant, right? Like if you use it for 5 years and it's been around for 50, it doesn't really make a big difference. And then you can, resell it at the same price.
Looking at the future now as well. So obviously you've just had new investment in, you've got the TV ad coming in. Mm-hmm. What's exciting about the future? What are you looking forward to? What's the dream for the next few years?
I mean, the first, most immediate goal is to get to a sustainable profitability. Mm-hmm. Because that just means, more time, more options, and, the ability to invest also in long-term growth and projects that matter to us rather than like having to prioritize only short-term gains. And the second one is expansion. So today we are mostly in the UK, and it's a big market. And we have 50% of inventory outside of the UK from, dealers in over 30 countries. So we are very excited of finding ways to create, to open the demand market outside of the UK in continental Europe. So that's what we are exploring for next year.
And I guess obviously you've got an advantage there with France in particular.
Yeah. Obviously I'm French. I do know the market, have, know people there. And, with UK and Germany, one of the largest market for furniture, and there are a lot of antique dealers there as well. So, but yeah, there are a lot of options to consider.
Actually, when you started this, you didn't necessarily have the idea that it would get to where it is today. What do you think your biggest learnings have been? Focus.
I think that's something that's we all hear and like everyone advises, but it's very hard to do. And I think sometimes actually, financial constraints can force you to focus and you're like, so good it is. And I think just the acceptance, there will never be enough time to do everything. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter, but just there is no time. So I think just accepting that and just allow me to be very deliberate about what I focused to prioritize on.
I guess it's not feeling guilty for what you can't do as well, because when you focus on what you can do, that's how you can make a bigger difference too.
Yeah. I think making it like, okay, what I choose, right? Not like I'm not doing it because I can't or because it's not important. Maybe it's very important and I'm still going to choose not to do that because I really want to choose to invest enough time in that because that's my bet. And, I want to make the best chance for it to succeed.
So thanks so much for sharing your story today. I really enjoyed it. We're going to have to go to quick fire questions now.
Yeah.
So first one is, who are 3 British Asians or Asians in Britain that you think are doing incredible work and you'd love to shout them out?
Yeah, of course. The first one would be Reshma Sohoni, who's a founder and partner at Seedcamp, the first one who backed us and me. So, and she has been nominated on the Midas list for years and, women in VC are rare as well. So shout out to Reshma. I have 2. So Aining Zhang and CD Mittal from Why Angry. They are like just so high energy. They're like, 2 co-founders, very complementary. And so they help people find their private chef to eat better. And also they organize a lot of community dinners who are such great fun and bring, female founders together. And the third one is Radha Vyas from Flashback. I met Radha actually one of your events, and we had a a friend crush, and she had an extraordinary story where I think her business went into administration during COVID, and she rebuilt it from scratch. So a girl boss. Really shout out to her.
Yeah, Reshma have only traded emails with the other 3. Love them. They've all been on the podcast before as well, so always can check them out. But if people want to find out more about you, find out more about Vinterior, where should they go to?
Google Vinterior. You will find us. And I think there is also a show with Radio 4 that I've done, Pathfinders, where also sharing a bit more about the origin of Vinterior that I think people have said they've enjoyed.
And is there anything that you need help with right now that maybe the audience listening could reach out and help you with?
I think just think and encourage people to think about secondhand secondhand first. I think that would help us and help anyone. Like if you have furniture to sell, don't throw it to landfill. Like go and list it on Vinterior.
So thank you again so much for coming on. Have you got any final words for the audience?
Thank you very much for having me here. I think it's so important to show that you can build something from scratch, however you look like or whatever your background. So thanks for the great job, Amar.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.